All right, welcome. In this video, we are going to break down what is the actual chat closing model, how does it work, what are you responsible for, and go through the exact process so you understand holistically what is actually involved in being a remote chat closer, right? So chat closing is obviously a very powerful sales strategy that involves setting calls or directly selling programs through direct messaging channels like Instagram or Facebook. And it's a valuable skill set for coaches and marketers, and it's really the foundation to successful coaching and influencing offers. So we look at the actual breakdown. This goes into two separate categories. The first one is what's called a high ticket sales funnel. So a high ticket offer can range from $3,000 all the way up to $100,000 and include things such as a video program, in-person boot camps, or private one-on-one calls, right? And this is one type of people that you're going to be helping is someone who has a high ticket sales funnel. So typically how this funnel looks is first off, there's an audience that they have, usually through ads or organic, right? So if they have a large YouTube channel, well, obviously that's their audience. Or they have a large Instagram, that's their audience. Oftentimes a successful influencer coach will have advertising being done. Could be Instagram ads, could be Facebook ads, could be YouTube ads. The second step here is that they gotta generate leads. And the way you generate leads from these ads or from the audience is a combination of story and feed posts that have specific call to actions to message you. For those who don't know what a call to action is, it's essentially offering your audience the ability to interact with you in some way. Either you give your audience a free lead magnet, you give them a call with you, you give them an incentive to message and potentially work with you. It's called a call to action. And later in this program, we'll go into more in depth of what that looks like. But essentially, after you have audience coming in from advertising, you need to generate leads, and that's typically done through call to actions. The third thing is you're going to chat with them, right? You got to walk them through the chat sequence and make sure they are a good fit. Do they have the qualifiers? Do they have the money? Do they have the time? Maybe there's some additional qualifiers for the coach or influencer you're working for that you need to make sure that the ideal customer checks. So you're going to go through that chat process. Then you're going to set them. With a high ticket sales funnel, you do not sell the program in chat. There's typically a sales reps that are having those calls. Lucky for you is you're not going to be the ones taking those sales calls. That's going to be somebody else. So your job is to set these appointments. And if you think they're a good fit, you're going to send them a booking page where they can actually schedule time with the sales rep to talk about the high ticket program that the coach or influencer you're working with is offering. And again, this program can range from $3,000 all the way up to $100,000. I think most likely it'll be somewhere between $3,000 to $10,000. Next, in the funnel, they need to show, right? So you're going to want to make sure you help nurture the client as much as possible before the sales call to ensure they show up. Because typically you're only going to get paid if the sales rep closed them. So if you book 10 calls, but only 5 of them show up, well, that's 5 calls of lost opportunity that you set for. So we want to make sure that as many people show up as possible so you have the best, highest chance of making commission on every call you book. Then step 6, there's going to be the actual call. Now, this is what the sales reps of the client are actually taking, and they're going to be the ones that are actually taking and closing that call. You're going to be responsible for generating the lead, chatting with them, setting the call, and helping to nurture them to show. You're not going to be responsible for the advertising. You're not going to be responsible for the sales call. The second type of structure you may be working with is called course selling offer funnel. So instead of high ticket, which is usually at $3,000 to $10,000 all the way up to $100,000, course selling offers are typically priced between $497 and $2,000 and can be entirely sold through chat. So you're actually going to sell the program through chat. And typically, the correct funnel structure from this is there's advertising, same as before, or there's a large audience. You still got to generate leads. So it's still going to be a combination of story and feed posts that have call to actions to message you. Now you're going to have leads, right? So these are people that responded to the call to actions on the story or feed post that could be potential clients. But we don't know yet. We still have to qualify them. And that's where you're going to chat with them. So you're going to walk them through a chat sequence to make sure they're a good fit. And if they're a good fit, you're going to send them what's called a VLD. A VLD is a video link drop, which is a custom video created by the client that walks through their offer in 7 to 10 minutes and invites them to then work with you guys. So you're going to qualify them in the chat. You're going to send them this VLD video. Once they respond to that VLD video, you're going to send them the payment link to actually join the program, and then you're going to get paid out on a percentage of that. So you get paid out higher percentages on a course selling offer compared to high ticket because in high ticket, you're not the one doing the actual closing. So the client also needs to pay the sales rep. However, when you're doing selling course within chat, you typically get a higher percentage because there is no sales rep. You're the one selling all the courses inside the chat and dropping these VLDs, which again, I'll talk into later in the program. Now, the key here is the show up rate, right? It's a key indicator of success. The show up rate is the percentage of leads who actually show up to schedule appointments. So this really only matters for high ticket offers, not for if you're selling the course inside the funnel. For high ticket offers, we obviously want a really good show up rate. So 80% and above is good, right? That means you're doing the right thing. You're on the right track. There's always going to be people who don't show up, but if 80% show up, that's great. 65 to 70, 80%, still good, right? You're still going to make money, but we want to see if we can optimize it anymore. And anything less than 65% show up rate is bad, right? There's a problem in the funnel. There's a problem in the process that you guys need to work on in order to ensure that people consistently show up to the calls, because you're just missing out. If you're booking all these calls and people aren't even showing up, you're missing out on a lot of potential money. But the takeaway here is that there's two types of offers you could work with. One of them is a high ticket funnel, and one of them is a course selling funnel. The skills you learn are going to be able to work in both situations. But as far as the funnel goes, in both situations, you're not going to be responsible for the advertising, and only for the course selling offer are you actually going to be responsible for selling the offer. If it's a high ticket offer, there's going to be a sales rep that's actually taking that as well.